Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my third episode of the Event Tech Talk Show live at International Confex on the show floor on day one in the First Sight Media studio. I forgot to mention them on the last two episodes. They've been very kind in giving me access to their studio on the show floor as a podcast studio. So thank you to the First Sight Media team. But joining me today on this episode is John Benjamin. John is Managing Director? CEO of ASP. If you haven't come across ASP, you've probably not scrolled far enough down an exhibition website and seen their logo in the bottom right-hand corner, because they pretty much do every trade show website on the planet. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about the shift towards performance-driven website optimization, a little bit of SEO, a little bit of AI, if we can squeeze it in. John, you talk about the website being the most important digital asset a show organizer has. Why do you think that is? Why do you make that statement?
Well, it's probably best to take a little step back to explain it. So ASP, as you kindly introduced, great reputation, been around for nearly 30 years, building websites for exhibitions, predominantly trade shows, yeah? And we've been really successful at it and great. So around about 5 years ago when I took over, I was on a bit of a crusade to change the identity of the website, because it's almost become a bit of a forgotten element. So the website is the website and people go, great, it's like an online brochure. And then everybody else has got, oh, this lovely bit of shiny technology. And what I kind of felt was everybody is sending all their marketing dollars to the website, but it almost gets forgotten within all of that. So what the intention was to say, okay, this is the shop window to your event, okay, and really position it as that. And then the point I said about all of the marketing spend being directed straight to the website, is anybody tracking and measuring how that is performing? And I'll be honest with you, at the start, it was just, we did a few UX tests with clients and it was all a bit, a bit amateur, to be honest with you, because we were finding our feet. But I can say about 4 years on from that now, we really have sort of hit the tipping point where everybody's like, now I get what you're trying to say. And the point is, it sounds a little bit bold and almost brash to say we're the most important digital asset, but ultimately your website is the source of truth. It is on 365 days a year. It's on 24/7. And the moment a show finishes, it's the way that you're speaking to your audience. Even if you've gone off and took 2 weeks off because you need to sleep, your website is still performing for you. And it was trying to bring that back to the front.
So let me ask you this then. What does the DNA of a great event website look like when it's optimized for that user experience?
Your content it's probably two, maybe three aspects to it, but the content is vital. So what a lot of people have done in a very linear way, and it's just, I probably should have just said there, it's our industry that treats the website in this way. It's the nature of our industry that means it's treated as a website's up, live, good, right, let's get on with the real business. And then we'll start talking about website when we get just 2 months out from the show. No one else, no other business treats it like that. You don't treat your corporate websites like that. And that's possibly the biggest mistake. And back to your question about the DNA, it's the content that lives on the website is so important. Quite often people will go, right, all the content from last year, stick it in the bin. What are we talking about this year? And the reality is, it's so, even when I joined, I was always like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I'm like, something's not right here. You should be holding on to that rich content, because search engines, one thing, but more importantly, AI search, it wants to get some real overall context. Who was speaking at your shows? Who does exhibit at your shows for the last 5-6 years, to decide what kind of pedigree you are? So content, really important. Second is the sort of technical aspects of it, making sure that content is optimized for SEO, for AI, and that people can discover those pages. And finally, when they land on the website, the user experience. So those it's a triumvirate of things that are all equally important, and without one of them, none of it works.
When it comes to content then, do you see more organizers shifting to be that content provider all year round as well, not just repurposing the content, like at International Confex, they've got plenty of stages across the show, but not just that content, but actually being the producer, maybe the media outlet then for the sector in that way, or is it other content that they're producing as well?
It's a mixture, but I am pleased to say that a lot of them are seeing that, and then that adds the value to the website year round. So our development roadmap and the things that we'll be talking about or are talking about are more about ensuring that you keep that website, the conversation and the content and the engagement live throughout the course of the year. It is hard to do. So on a smaller budget show, it's quite hard to, you're talking with small teams. So the website, you don't go into hibernation, but it can still perform for you in other ways. But some of the bigger organizers are getting much smarter to it in the way that you just referred to.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say because I've come into events from a media background. So for us, it's always been content. Just that's the way that you drive engagement and audience and keep them coming back and stuff like that. But you are right. Smaller shows, smaller budgets. It's hard to invest in that way. Although I think now technology is, making that job more easier, more streamlined and things like that.
Oh, without question. I mean, the content that's on your website, don't forget, if your event's in February, like this one, somebody's looking for it in March, April, May, June, July. They're looking for it all the year round. So you've got to make sure that your doors are nice and wide and open and welcoming and telling them the great story that what's happening at International Confex all year round.
Yeah.
And that is still a message that scarily people don't always translate and understand. So like I said, we've had a good few years of pushing it. And I think finally we're getting that understanding.
So when we look at marketing and we're using emails, we're using paid ads, social, all these things to drive audience to a site. What is in your opinion some of those mistakes that people make? What are the performance killers? Is it the website not being multilingual and therefore only being kind of native language to wherever that event is? Is it other aspects? Is it not having like a destination for people to go to register for more information?
Oh, it's a really broad question to answer, but when someone comes to us with a challenge or a potential prospect or an existing client and they're like, something's not right, we'll just do an audit, because it could be any of those things you mentioned, or it could be a long list of another lot of things. But your predominant reasons for why it won't perform, we kind of disagree internally as to what is the primary one. Mine, and what I strongly believe, is people don't measure. That's where it goes wrong. And you could, I don't want to spend more than $5,000 on a website. I absolutely don't. But I'm quite happy to spend 150 grand on pay-per-click and just pummel that website with it to try and get registration. It's not working. I haven't got enough. I'll stick another 25 grand in.
We've got all these people landing on the website and they're just not registering.
And so where's the problem there? Well, one, you're not measuring it. And two, when they're getting there, they're clearly not doing the conversion you want them to. So you need to look at that customer journey. So we've got loads of little streams that you can break it down. We've got a load of services I didn't mention earlier, but we've launched a performance arm to the business because of the traction we've gained. And we'll almost audit first, and then you sort of dive into tackle.
I think you're right, and I think you hit a nail on the head. Right. In general, I think the value of the website has not been properly perceived. Some people see it as a commodity, right? And everybody's got another mate or another friend who can chuck a website together, and we've got a website. What do we need all of this other stuff for? Why do we need to invest in a website that's maybe 10, 15, 20,000 pounds and things like that? And I think the challenge there as well is now with that little bit of AI, which people can spin these websites even up more so. But like you say, just crushing ad budgets and not getting that conversion is a massive waste of time and money, right?
It is, and it's that. I'm trying to go back to think about where my head was at when we first started this process, but it would have been about making sure that we're demonstrating all the value that we can offer. And as you get into it and you work closer with clients, you start to understand the size of their budgets that they're operating with. And ironically, we're not necessarily going after the budgets. We want to make their budgets perform better. Some people are buying some of our services, and that's great. But we want our software to be optimized to do the job for them. And then we're doing education courses, we do training and all those things. They're all free. But then if they want to buy additional services, like some clients have come to us and said, do you know what? We want to outsource all of our SEO to you, which is that's a huge boost for the team that have all been plowing in this direction and maybe have seen small incremental progress. But that's kind of where we're at now with it.
And what's your advice to people that, they're not measuring? What should they be measuring, and how do they quantify that value that they're investing in the right way, or they're on the right path?
Again, it's so broad because it depends on which media source we're talking about. In the world of PPC, which is usually quite a chunky one, and often, damn it, we need to get a load of registrations in, let's throw a load of cash at it. It will be about when those clicks are coming, where they're landing, and whether they're going through to the transaction, what content did they engage with on that journey, et cetera, et cetera. So that's an easy low-hanging fruit answer to that. But there's many more. So what I can't say too much, but we're partnering with a PPC specialist in the area who is kind of closing that loop for us. So we're SEO experts. That's what ASP are. So we'll make sure your website will turn up even if you don't throw a marketing dollar at it. So we're sort of the free and organic and making sure you're optimized there. When you add that layer of money and the cash injection on top, we're now working with the PPC companies who are really open to work with us, which I was I wondered how they'd feel about it, because we're saying, well, you can get it free, but you're never going to get all of the audience free.
Well, I think the smart organizers, yes, they're getting the SEO benefits and the natural traffic and things like that from content, but if they're then investing that PPC on retargeting people to that content, then the two can work symbiotically, right? And work very well together, rather than just the PPC gets to people to the website to register. Let's direct people to the content so they see value in what we're talking about, sign up to the newsletter, become a lifetime customer of the content, and then the cost of that PPC comes down dramatically, doesn't it, based on the number of engagements you have with somebody?
Yeah, exactly that.
You mentioned earlier as well about people starting their searches now in their chosen LLM and things like that. So this has been a massive shift in discoverability. I think I looked in something like 800 million searches a week at the moment on ChatGPT alone for things. How have you kind of navigated that shift? How are you advising clients navigate that shift? What's it look like?
Well, I'll be honest, it's probably been the catalyst that's really started to move the dial for us and raise the message of the importance of our asset. So it's been really helpful, if anything. The 800 million searches, that's probably gone up. That was October. That was October's data, and I'm sure it's going up. Google's released, I think there's a billions of interactions now with their short AI notes at the top that they add on searches, and it's appearing on about 50 to 60% of searches. Everybody is using it, and there is a difference. That a lot of the fundamentals of how you structure the website for SEO discovery for Google, if you like, are very similar. But where the website being that source of truth becomes even more important now is Google will go looking for keywords, and they'll say, yeah, tech event in London, fantastic. I'll serve you up these 10 events ranked in whatever order. People's searching is completely different. They don't just search tech event in London. They go, I'm this person. This is my role. I'm neurodiverse. There's a story behind them. I'm looking to change my job. I'm just trying to think, these are the companies I'd be kind of interested in seeing. That's a very different descriptive search, because they'll just talk to their, like I do. I just walk around the house talking to ChatGPT, which is a bit odd, but that is what a lot of people are doing. And I don't give it it's not a 5-word prompt.
It's a lot of context.
It's a lot and don't forget, it knows me.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to it every day. So it gives me very different answers. I would recommend to organizers, do that on your show and see what you find. Because we've done it with a few big shows, and it's terrifying. How they're not. So who's your ideal customer profile? Tell ChatGPT, I'm this person, and they're not even on the list. So it's hugely important, but it's great because people are going, how do I get in there? And it's almost, it's what we've been talking about for a long time anyway. So it's perfect timing.
Yeah, and that just going back to that Google AI recommendation, that piece that actually appears, doesn't it, above peers ads. So if you can get yourself into that for free, maybe you've invested money with ASP or other elements to get yourself ranked in there, but you're basically the top of authority, aren't you? Essentially, before anybody that's actually paying for those placements.
Yeah, and that's staring you right in the face. It's right there.
Where does somebody get started with that? Is that optimizing what they've currently got on the website? Is it investing in the content, back into the content? Is it partly the search engine optimization, or is it a combination of all of it?
It's to not do too much of a cop out, but yeah, it's clearly going to the technical structure, the content, the user experience when someone lands on the website are all really important. Probably the first two more so in the world of AI. But if I come back to the source of truth again, if you need to ensure whatever's on your website is the authority of what is happening on your event and what you want people to discover. Now, it's become more important with AI. That's the difference, because AI will make it up sometimes if it's not, or it will go and read a defamatory article that someone wrote because they don't like you, or a competitor wrote about you, and it will bring that into the context. So your importance of making sure what you control has become much greater in this world.
Yeah. I've got a question, and I am putting you on the spot, John, because I genuinely don't know the answer to this. When I think about Google search and I think about, Google's analytic platforms, you can generally see what people have searched for when they land on your website and things like that. So you can get a really good indication of like what's working and what's not. Does that exist at the moment when it comes to these LLMs? If somebody's searched something with an LLM and then click through to your website, is there that context passed through to the website tracking?
So do you? Yeah, it's not to the same sophistication level yet. No, but it will, and you can imagine the analysis that you'll be able to go into with it. But yeah, it's there. I'm not necessarily a technical expert, but I know it's not rudimentary, but it's not as advanced as you think.
See, now all of a sudden, there's been lots of chat, hasn't there, recently about ChatGPT saving up adverts to people. And I've been like, no, do I really want that? I get that already on Facebook, and how's it going to look and stuff like that. But I now feel like as an event organizer, I want my advert in there as an event of like, oh, we've got the perfect event for you.
Of course.
Fun question for you.
Go on.
What would you like to see more of in the industry, and what would you like to see less of? And that doesn't have to be focused on this conversation. That could just be very general. What's something you would like to see more of and something you would like to see less of?
This is pretty boring. Measurement. I'd like to see more of that. So many technical providers. Quite often you'll have 5. They've probably got 10 for this show. I don't know. And the quality of the measurement of that customer journey through it is not good enough. And that is why you end up with some of the things I talked about earlier. But it's not just money leaking there. It's leaking in lots of places. So I think slightly boring answer, but more of that.
Can I ask you one thing on that then? Because the gap that I see at the moment is there is all of this data. It's siloed. We have that challenge at Events Out Live, right? We have 13, 14, 15 technology partners doing different things. I'm more interested, so more inclined to bring all of that data together to try and make sense of it for myself. But there doesn't seem to be like the event data lake or the event portal, the place that I can bring all that for. I'm sure the big boys, the Clarions, the Informers, they've got teams, they can do all this, they've got BIs and all that kind of stuff, they can create their own stuff. But on the whole, the independents, like me and stuff like that, there's not this product that I can go, right, I can plug my grip and my ASP and my GA and all this kind of stuff and then go, and I can just look at it.
So there isn't, is the short answer. Again, we're creating dashboards which will pull in GA and all of the various knowledge to do that in our small world, but it's too small. There's a company, have you heard of Bear Analytics?
I love Bear, I love Joe and Joe.
They're going down that kind of road to some degree, and I know they're great guys as well.
Yeah.
Give them a shout out. But that's the closest I've seen as something that's on the market, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that there'll be something come in the future. I would actually love to see it almost a open source collaborative approach between the suppliers, you know, you, the Jonases, the Sitkas, the whoever else is going, let's all kind of not invest. I don't expect you to put money in, but let's all try and come together to make this thing happen as an open source project for the events industry. It was really cool.
There was like a standardized industry tech standards document that started about, it's probably about 8 or 9 years ago now. It never really got off the ground, but it almost needs to come back.
Was that VSEF?
VSEF, yes.
Yeah. That was Mark Brewster, Explorer, wasn't it? Tried to get that off the ground. I love that. I love that idea and that concept. And that was about, just for anybody that didn't come across that was about standardizing data collection so that it could harmonize and things, right? So because everybody's got the different way of like formatting things and stuff like that. So yeah, something
like that needs to make a.
Where is Mark's here somewhere? Maybe we should have a chat to him about that. Get him on the podcast. Final question: what's in the roadworks for ASP over the next 12 months? Then
we've got a variety of things. One is we're taking a few ideas to market with our customers at the minute just to see what they like. That could be more about gated content, so more about using the website all the year round. So a little bit what we referred to earlier. Another thing that we're talking about today, launching, where are we? End of next month is our AI zone. So what this, in most simplest form, you know, I talked about discoverability.
Yeah.
It's exhibitor content, getting your exhibitors engaged. If you've got 500 exhibitors, they upload 5 products each. That's 2,500 pages of discoverability. So we've created an AI tool that will go off and do all the searching for them because they can't be bothered to log in and do it. So we will do it for them, and it will generate thousands more pages of content for organizers. So that's been really well received, and I think that'll be a bit of a game changer in terms of us embracing AI. I think other things we're playing around with, there's not necessarily a roadmap idea, is we're using AI ourselves to build websites.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so we just want to see how it plays out and how it works. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's amazing what you can do in a prompt, but there's a hell of a long way to go.
You see, this is something that I've been starting to be quite vocal about myself. I think there's this misunderstanding around, there's a term vibe coder, then it's actually a bit washy at the moment. It kind of means, you know, not amazing. It's somebody who's probably just prompted a tool and it spat something out, right? And it kind of works. It doesn't work perfectly. It's not production ready. I love the idea of companies being AI assisted. And I think that's what you're talking about, right? You have that depth of knowledge, that wealth of experience. You know what looks good. You can do code reviews and technical reviews and production reviews and things like that. But then being able to leverage AI as an assistant to you and your team to produce things better, quicker, more agile, things like that, then that's a benefit to the customer, right? Because they can ramp up quicker or they get the benefits of those tools in production and things like that. So that's just what I wanted to say, because a lot of people, when they see, oh, we're using AI tools, all of a sudden think that the human bit's gone out of it, right? And it's all machines now producing this stuff. And I think it's very, very different in the future.
Yeah, agree with that.
One final question though, just going back to your AI-enabled e-zone. And I'm going to ask a very selfish exhibition organizer question. Would that also help support me in helping exhibitors maybe discover other sponsorship or investment opportunities they want to do with us in and around the show that we would have in that zone presented to them? It could be an activation. It could be a sponsorship that we've got available, like a VIP zone, a content thing, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is just the start of it. Yeah. And we fully expect to, we were thinking about using it for speakers and other things. So it's, we'll get this off the ground. I'll come back and talk to you about that.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it on.
Well, when you're ready to announce it, we'll publish something on Events Live and we'll let everybody know about it and where they can go and find out more about it. John, thank you very much for giving me some time on the show floor. I know you're a busy man. I know you've got a busy stand. For anybody that's not come across ASP or John, do go and check them out. I think if you go to the International Confex website, it's one of theirs as well. Thank you very much for coming on, John.
Thanks very much.